silence. So on this show, it's not just going to be strictly English language because it's Ibadan. And mo fẹ́ kẹ́yin màmá mi, ẹ̀yin bàbá mi, tẹ́ pé èdè abínibí wa lójọ yé wa. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́yin náà kẹ́ jàǹfààní ètò yìí. So bá ṣe ń sọ fìtìfìrìn náà láti máa sọ èdè abínibí wa tí í ṣe èdè Yorùbá. So lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí orúkọ tèmi ni Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. And ètò tá a gbé wá yìí ètò tó máa ṣe kò ń ṣe obìnrin nìkan àti gbogbo aráàlú tó máa ṣe wá láǹfààní ni. Nǹkan tá a dẹ̀ fẹ́ máa jíròrò lé lórí ń bíbá yìí ó ní í ṣe ní pàtó pẹ̀lú nípa ìdàgbàsókè obìnrin. Yes, that's why we called it the Women Shelter, because it's a place where we just want to see to the total development of women. But then I want to say this because it's the very, very first episode of the program. It's a women program, but then we want men to be part of what we are doing. Because what we are trying to do has to do with changing of mindsets. And so it's not possible for us to do that alone as women. I believe that men and women are partners in progress. So there's no way that we can do it alone. So we need you, our fathers, our mothers, our uncles, sisters, everybody. We need you to join us on this show. We are going to do it together. I'm doing it alone today because it's the very, very first edition of the program. And subsequently, I'll be bringing in guests. An information radio program that is created to support the total development of women. I've said it before, and I'm emphasizing that again, the total development of women. So on this show, we will not just be celebrating high achieving women. We are going to also engage women who are still going through life. And I know exactly what I mean by that. Because there are shows where we just bring on women who are doing well in their different fields, in their different professions. I had done a show like that before. That's like 8-9 years ago. It was Fantastic Females that time. But then, when I was conceiving the idea of this particular show, I said I want something that has more substance. That's beyond inspiring women. Every woman out there, even the girl child, and our brothers to our fathers, our uncles, they can also get something when they listen to this show. So that at the end of the day, when you listen to the Women's Shelter, you go away from this show and you feel better. You feel like something valuable has been added to you. So we won't just be celebrating high achieving women. We'd also be supporting women who are going through struggles. And that means that there are times where women will probably come in to talk about their issues. I have a lot of female supporters and even male supporters out there who have helped me in the past to help other women. And I'm counting so much on you to also join me as I do this. So it's not just about that. Would also be bringing women who are survivors. I mean, women who have gone through stuffs and they have emerged stronger from whatever it is that they had gone through. They didn't allow it to consume them. They didn't allow it to bow their head. They have gone through stuff. There are people who have gone through probably domestic violence. There are people who didn't even have good education, who were forced into early marriage, people who were raped, people who had gone through different issues. I'd always worked with women and I know what women go through. There are people who say that we do too much for women. Is that it? Do we really do too much for women? I beg to digress at this point. Just yesterday, I was listening to a lady on TikTok, and this lady was talking about how her home mother forced her into cohabiting with a man in the name of marriage, because that's not marriage, at the age of 15 years old, child marriage. And it happened here in the Southwest. It didn't happen in one bush. In fact, the story started from Ibadan, you know. So we can think that we are doing so much for women, but we still have issues like this. That same yesterday, I still watched another video that was far away in Aguleri, Anambra State, I think, where some minors, 12-year-old, 13-year-old minors, they were taken from their states under the guise of going to work, and they were forced into prostitution. They were, I'm not sure of the exact number now, 30-something, taken away from Ebonyi, Niger State, because they were interviewing them. They were talking about the different places where they came from. You know? So when you say we are doing too much for women, these are underaged girls. In fact, I had to comment there that why were their faces left open? But that was part of the reason why I realized that some of us need to come into this space and discuss these issues. Because I have watched programs, even in this Ibadan, where minors who were probably abused by their fathers, by their guardians, will be taken on radio, on a live radio show, and their faces will be left bare for people to look at. These are victims of society. These are children that we're supposed to protect. And then we take them on radio, we put them on social media, their faces are out there. What are we doing to them? Are we not destroying their future? These children that we're supposed to protect, thank God the people that used to do that have stopped anyway, but these things had happened. We saw it right here. And that's why I said, those of us who know better, we need to come into this space and talk about it. If you had listened, you had also listened to my promo, the promo that was run for this program. There was a point where we're talking about the fact that we don't want radio programs that they say are designed for women, but then you see that they subtly uphold misogyny, you know? And then we are not talking about equality, because we feel that our society, our reality as a society does not promote equality. But that's where the world is. Equality is where we should be. And any forward-thinking a woman that is concerned about the development of women in modern day, today, should be able to tailor their programs towards equality. Because why do we have some of these issues that we have? Because some people believe that the female is inferior to the male. Like I said, I won't want you to get me wrong. It's not a competition. Like I said, we are partners in progress. And I expect that those who love us truly as women would also join us as we do this program, this progress on this show. Thank you very much. We are going to have a short music break now, and we'll be back shortly.
First class, baby, you know me status. Super icon, me no need to
very much for staying tuned. It's still the Women's Shelter on Melody 100.7 FM. And my name is Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. And I'll be your host for the next few minutes. Okay, now. So what we want to talk about now is the different aspects that would be looking at on this show. I talked about some things, but now let's be specific. What are the things that we'll be talking about on this show? One, education. Education is very important. If we're talking about the total development of the woman, there is no way that we're not going to put education at the front. Because one important factor that contributes to how aware you are as a woman, how developed you are as a woman, is education. Education can be formal, it can be informal. So education is one key aspect of this program. We're going to be talking a lot about the education of women. We'll bring in professionals who talk about the different opportunities that are available for women. And then we'll also be talking about careers and leadership. This is also another important area. And like I said the other time, this show is not just going to be about me. From time to time, I'm going to bring in guests. So we'll bring in guests, women, and even sometimes men who are doing well in their different careers, who are holding leadership position, and they're doing excellently well. Why are we bringing people like this? So that we can learn from them. But like I said, that's just an aspect of the program. And then another aspect we'll be looking at is the business and economic empowerment of women. This is a very core aspect of this program. In fact, just last week I was discussing with one of the topmost female figures in Oyo State when it comes to entrepreneurship. And she has assured me that she's going to be on the show anytime from now. And that's my sister, Adejoke Lasisi. Hopefully she will join us anytime from now. And then another aspect where we'll be bringing in professionals. And sometimes we just talk about it ourselves before we even invite the professionals. Is the aspect of our health and well-being as a woman. You know, the health of women is a key factor that sometimes we don't pay attention to. And if we really love ourselves as women, our health ought to come first. You know, sometimes women take themselves for granted. You care for every other person around you. You care for probably for those of us that are married, you care about your husband, you care about your children. And then before you remember yourself, probably you had, in quotes, crashed. That's when you remember that I also need some things as a woman. I also need to go and do checkup. Some people will be telling you that I've been feeling sick since last week. But then I have to take care of the children, I have to take care of the home, I have to do that, you know. But before you can take care of any other person, you have to take care of yourself. It's when you are fit that you can actually be useful to other people around you. If you are not fit, how do you help other people around you? It's someone that is healthy that can also help other persons to also retain their health. So your health comes first, and that's an aspect we will be taking very seriously on this show. And then I'm big about policies, government policies, systems, and everyday realities that affect women. You know, there's this part that I'll really be dwelling into, and that's social protection. I think we don't do enough as a society to protect the vulnerables among us. We don't do enough because we will always have the vulnerable among us. There are people who by reason of their birth, because they were probably born into poor families, they are disadvantaged. And society has to take care of them. We have to. So there should be a social protection plan in place. And that's where we'll be calling the attention of government to some of these issues. Because at some point, we'd have you call in from home to talk about your issues, what you are facing as a woman. Is there something that you like people to come to your help? And there are cases that are beyond us that will probably need the support of relevant government authorities, agencies to come and help us. So then, policies, systems, What system is even in place? Does the Ministry of Women Affairs in Oyo State, do they have any solid social protection plan for vulnerable women in the state? How are they working with NGOs that are targeted at women and even children? Because there's no way you talk about women that you not talk about children as well. So all of these aspects we'll be looking into. And let me also state at this point that on this program, we'll be speaking very, very honestly and respectfully. Enough of dodging around issues. We've done enough of that. And I think that's why we are still where we are as a society. Like I said, those two stories that I saw yesterday, in fact, I wrote it on my social media page. I said we are still backward. Like, what are we doing as a people? If we still have, in this present day Nigeria, Chimamanda Adichie, from Anambra State? We have heroines from that state. Even in your state, can you imagine, from Ibadan, in Southwest, that girl was talking about her mother's friend, were telling her friend that you cannot have these beautiful girls and you are suffering. Mindsets. Because how are you telling a 15-year-old that you are this beautiful and your mother is suffering? You people cannot help your mother. This girl was sharing her story and she was crying. She said her mother is a narcissist. But before now, I'm that type of woman who will say that that woman, she's not fit to be a mother, this one, that one. But let me assure you that even women, mothers like that, they are also victims of the society. Because I believe that if she knew better, she would have done better. And that's what we are trying to do here. Social engineering. Let's talk about these issues. The information gap is there. People would say that, yes, there's information everywhere now. Once you have your data, you have access to information. But you know that the fact that there's too much information, the information overload, is actually distracting us from getting the information that is valuable to us, because you are seeing every other thing except the information that is useful to you as a woman. Sometimes you're supposed to go on your phone and probably check for the kind of diet that suits you as a woman who is in her reproductive years, or as a woman who is an elderly woman who has probably entered menopause. But then you are just scrolling through TikTok, watching all these ladies dancing, watching videos and all of that. And we say information, but then the information that you need, are you getting it? And that's what we want to do here. The Women's Shelter wants to bring all this information to you. So this is the platform where we want to fill that gap. Because I believe that this is not just going to be another women's program. Because I saw a gap that I intend to fill. And that's what we are going to be doing on this show. I sincerely believe, and that's where I'm going to stop here before we go on another music break. I sincerely believe that when a woman is informed, she's empowered. Information comes first. When you know what to do, there's a difference in your life. There's a difference in how you do things. If you know how to do things, you are not just doing a yoje. If you have the right information, you know where to go. There are people who are going through issues and they feel like there's nobody to save me. There's probably a woman out there who is being harassed by their lecturer in school and they feel like, tani mo fẹ́ sọ fún tó fẹ́ help me. See, I know NGOs that will not collect a kobo from you and they will take that case up. Yes, we are still on a case in Oyo State here today, and thank God for that Vice Chancellor, because the case is moving smoothly despite some people that are trying to. So information, where do you go when you have issues? Where are the opportunities for you as a woman? Because today it's all about the introduction. We just want to engage. At a point, you're also going to call me and talk to me about your expectations from this show, because now I'm telling you what I intend to do with this program. But what about you listening to me at home? What do you want from me as a presenter of this show? So let me stop here. I want you to think about that. You can start jotting it down because we'll soon get there where I want to hear from you. As a woman listening to me at home, what do you want from this show? Like I said, I don't want you to be that program that you just listen to and that's the end. A program that you listen to and at the end of the show, you feel like something has shifted. I'm not the same person that started listening to this program. Thank you very much. We'll be back in a bit. For still being there. You're still listening to the Women's Shelter on Melody 100.7 FM with Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. Thank you so much once again. And now I want to talk about the reason why this program is very, very important. The reason this program is very important. Like I said, it's the introductory show, and we'll just be talking more about what this program is all about today. And now I want to speak from the heart. We all know that African women are strong. But then, this strength sometimes is associated with suffering. You know, it is sad that sometimes our strength is misinterpreted for suffering in silence. In fact, most of our mothers, they were taught that endurance is the best instead of empowerment. So they believe that even if you're going through stuff, you're not supposed to talk to anybody. Sorry about that short interruption. And then, where did I stop? So I was talking about the strength of women. And I was talking about the fact that our mothers, some of them were taught that when you are going through stuff, you don't have to speak out, that you should just endure. So when they are going through things that can actually destroy their self-esteem, that can prevent them from fulfilling their true potential as a woman, they prefer to just be that virtuous woman, in quotes, and not talk to anybody about it. So they have issues that they can actually discuss with trusted people, because now we also have to be very careful. It's not everybody that you can share your issues with. There are people you talk to and they're going to escalate and make it seem as if you cannot come out of that issue. So that's why I put it in good, trusted people. But there are people that you will talk to and you will feel as if a burden has been lifted off your shoulders. And honestly, I feel qualified to talk about some of these issues that I'm going to talk about on this show. Because as young as I am, I had also gone through stuff. And I am bold to say that some of the issues that I went through as a woman, I had women in my corner. Women who offered me listening ears, who offered me shoulders to cry on. You know, no matter how strong you are, you're going to get to those crossroads in your life where you need people who are going to lift you. You can't do life alone. You cannot do life alone. So don't bottle it up. If you are a woman out there and you are listening to this show, let me assure you that Oluwatoyin Adeyemi is your confidant. I can't do it alone. Trust me, like I said, I can't do it alone. But I believe that we have people, we have a community of women who are going to help us to go through some of these issues. So just trust me. No, don't trust me. Trust God in me. That this show that you are listening today, in fact, that you are listening to this show is because that situation you are going through, probably God wants you to come out of it at this moment or stronger. That's why you are listening to this show. Because trust me, this is not an average show that you are listening to this afternoon. This is a destiny changer for you, woman, out there. Thank you very much. Let me put that there for now. So now, we'd also be talking on this show that a woman has to be proactive. That's another aspect that we'll be talking about. You need agency as a woman. You need agency. If there's a vision that you want to pursue, don't sleep on it. Don't wait for someone to come and encourage you. See, this strength that we talked about, that I mentioned earlier, it's because some of our mothers, there was that inner strength in them. Where they missed it was the fact that they thought that they could probably, some of them thought they could do it alone, and they were just going through some of the things that they needed help with and they didn't speak out. But then there's a part of them that we have to pick, and that's the strength to keep going, to be proactive. Proactivity means that you are thinking about the future. You are not just thinking about yourself. For people who are pro-children, you are thinking about your future generation. So, I'm talking to you woman out there today, and I'm letting you know that you should be proactive. That agency, you have to look for it. It's within you. You just have to look for it. And at this point, I must state that we recognize the facts that the social realities of many women is different. As Nigerian women, our social realities are different. And this is where I'm going to talk about gender bias. Or maybe I should not talk about it now, because that's a strong area. Because I don't want some of our male friends that are watching us now. I can see Ajiboye Adedamola that is watching me. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. I also have Adejoju Adedoyin Makwaderun. Thank you so much, my sister, for joining me. I appreciate your support. So let me continue. We're going to talk about economic inclusion for us as women, and that's the area where we'd bring in probably government functionaries. What are the government's policies in place for women, not only in Oyo State, but even in Nigeria as a whole? Are there economic policies in place for women to thrive? And then harmful traditions. This is an aspect that is actually worrying. For instance, I was talking about the lady whose mother's friends were telling the mother that you have these beautiful girls and you are suffering. And they were even telling she said she was 15-year-old. They were telling her that, how can you be so fine and your mother is suffering? Is that not child labor? Why what? And then it's not even child labor. Maybe child labor is not good. But now you're encouraging them to go out and collect money from men. If they do that, is it going to be for free? I mean, mindsets. And this is rooted in harmful cultural traditions. See, I love culture. I was born in Oyo Town. I was raised in Oyo Town. I love culture. But then when culture is harmful, when culture subjugates, do we need to still run with aspects of our culture that are harmful to us as a people? They are good parts of our culture. In fact, our culture speaks to our dignity as human beings. It's not just about male or female now, but dignity. And dignity has to do with protecting the rights of not only male, but also female as well. Respect for human lives. So these are issues that we're going to look at on this show. And then, limited access to education. There are still places, in fact, this is not, I know of people, it's not too long ago, how old am I know of people where parents would tell the female children to wait, let your brother go to school. Wait, or they tell the female children to go and learn a trade. That's why when people say you are doing too much, and I see people who go about jamboree and say we still have so much to do. There are issues for both genders, but then this is my own calling. This is what I'm talking about. And I want you to please know that for me. This is what I'm talking about. So these are issues that we have to discuss, that we have to look at, you know. And are these, one would expect that we would have passed that stage as a people, as a society. But these issues are still there, and we cannot overlook it and pretend as if they are not there. We need to look at it. And then, enough of this silence in the face of inequality. How are you, how is your daughter married to a man and then they tell her not to work? I mean, in this economy, how much, I know maybe they are wealthy men, but even it's not just about the economy. Your dignity as a person has to be tied to, sometimes it's tied to you going out there and earning something for yourself as a woman. And I wonder how somebody also shared a story. Was it 2 days ago that I was reading that the woman that shared it, that she said the lady sent the lady inbox that her husband said she should not work. And then she told her parents, and her parents were like, well, if he says you should not work, that she should listen to the husband. But this is someone who could not even provide all that the family needs. And then I wonder, as a parent who has invested so much into the education, the training of your child, and then they just go somewhere, they get married, and then their life, like our former president said, the woman's place is in the kitchen or in the other room. And then you, as the parent that has that child, I mean, what do you gain as the parent? How does the child how do you get your return on investment as a parent? Not that it's rocket science that if the child is working, but there's the fulfillment you get from knowing that the child you trained in school or you that has a skill is also doing something for him or herself. And then they are also at one point, it's not just about, it's the gesture when they come home and they say, "Daddy, Mommy, this is for you." So these are critical issues that we should speak to as a people. And that's why I said it's not just about women. We'd also want men who truly love women in their lives to also be part of this conversation, because it's something that affects us as a people. I believe that men and women, we are partners in progress. So we have to talk about these issues together. I expect the men also to engage from time to time, because I'm emphasizing that part, because I won't want a situation where this program is misinterpreted and we're having gender war or something like that. That's not the purpose of this program. The whole idea is the total development of the woman. That's what it's all about. And we must not lose sight of that point. Melody 100.7 FM. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, orúkọ tèmi ni Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. And kí náà láti ń sọ látàárọ̀? À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìdàgbàsókè obìnrin. Nǹkan tá à ń ti ń sọ látàárọ̀ náà nìyẹn. Ètò yìí ó jẹ́ alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ irú ẹ̀ tá a máa ṣe lórí ìkànnì yìí. Torí ẹ̀ gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń sọ lénìí ó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú nǹkan tá a máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ lórí ètò yìí. And a gbọ́dọ̀ kàn máa sọ òyìnbó torí ètò yìí a ti ṣe pé bá a ṣe ń sọ òyìnbó bẹ́ẹ̀ náà la tún máa sọ èdè abínibí wa. Mo ń sọ nǹkan kan lọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Mo ní obìnrin, àwa náà gbọ́dọ̀ gbéra. A gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ kí àwùjọ kó fọwọ́ rọ́ wa sẹ́yìn. Mo dẹ̀ tún sọ pé kì í ṣe pé a fẹ́ ba àṣà jẹ́, ṣùgbọ́n ibi tí ayé wà lénìí àti ìdàgbàsókè àwùjọ ó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú pé bá ṣe ń gbé ọkùnrin ga bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni à ń gbé obìnrin náà ga. And that's what we call equality. Equality. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìdàgbàsókè ọkùnrin àti obìnrin. Ká má fọwọ́ rọ́ obìnrin sẹ́yìn. Mo wá ń sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan nípa àwọn obìnrin míì tí wọ́n wà nílé ọkọ tí wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n ò ṣiṣẹ́. Kì í tiẹ̀ ń ṣe nípa pé ọrọ̀ ajé lénìí, kì í ṣe bí irú ayé àwọn bàbá wa. Jẹ́ pé bóyá wọ́n máa ń fi obìnrin ṣe iṣẹ́ oko nígbà yẹn. so kì í ṣe pé àwọn obìnrin ò ṣiṣẹ́ rárá ń gbà yẹn náà, kì í ṣe pé wọ́n á kàn jókòó sílé. Ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tá à ń rí nísìnyí ni pé obìnrin mìíràn táwọn òbí ẹ̀ tán ti rán lọ sílé ìwé tó ti kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ jáde, ẹlòmíràn lọ sí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga, á parí, á kàn jókòó. Àwọn tó wá ná owó yẹn tán fi rán ẹ lọ sílé ìwé, kí ni kó jèrè wọn? Ṣé kán tún máa fún obìnrin yẹn lówó nílé ọkọ níbi tó wà? Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe yẹ kó rí? And then mo sọ̀rọ̀ nípa social protection. Kí ló yẹ kí policies wa jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìjọba sí àwọn obìnrin? Because kò sí bá a ṣe lè rò pé àwùjọ dáa tó. Àwọn kan wà tó jẹ́ pé nípa àwọn tó bí wọn, wọ́n ti wà disadvantage, ó ti kù díẹ̀ káàtó fún wọn. Because ẹni tó yẹ pé àwọn tó bí, bóyá àwọn gan-an wọn ní kókó iṣẹ́ kan tó ní láárí bẹ́yẹn tí wọ́n ń ṣe. Ṣé irú ẹni yẹn náà fẹ́, tó bá ti ẹ̀wù wọn kán rán lọ sílé ìwé gíga gan bó ṣe wọ́n lè má lè ṣe tó bó ṣe yẹ. So irú àwọn èèyàn báyìí ṣáà ní bí àwọn scholarships, ètò ìrànlọ́wọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ tá a lè ṣe fún wọn. A ní àwọn ministries of women affairs tó federal and then ní state wa nípínlẹ̀ wa ń bí báyìí. Kí ni ètò tá a ní fáwọn obìnrin? A ní lórí ètò yìí a máa sọ nípa gbogbo àwọn nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Mo dẹ̀ tún sọ àwọn nǹkan kan tí mo tún rí lórí social media náà tó jẹ́ nǹkan tó ń bà mí nínú jẹ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí obìnrin tó ń wá ìdàgbàsókè obìnrin. Wọ́n ní obìnrin yẹn lórí TikTok, wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ bí ìyá ẹ̀ bó ṣe tì lọ kó lọ máa gbé pẹ̀lú ọkùnrin ní ọmọ ọdún 15 years old, àbí ṣé 15 kọ́ nìyẹn, tó tì lọ pé kó lọ máa gbé pẹ̀lú ọkùnrin nítorí àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ẹ̀ sọ fún pé báwọn wá ṣe máa jìyà báyìí tó dẹ̀ láwọn ọmọ tó rẹwà báyìí, ó wá ń jìyà. Wọ́n tún sọ fún òun náà pé ẹ̀yin ọmọ yẹn láàánú o, ẹ̀dẹ̀ rí ẹ̀dẹ̀ dá báyìí, tẹ̀lé jáde tẹ̀lé lọ mówó wá fún ìyá yẹn, ẹ̀dẹ̀ tí yà ń jẹ ìyá yín báyìí. Ṣáà fẹ́ parọ́ pé irú àwọn nǹkan báyìí ò máa ṣẹlẹ̀? Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe yẹ kó rí? Ṣáà máa ba ayé àwọn ọmọ yìí jẹ́? Ṣé bó ṣe yẹ ká ṣe é nìyẹn? Ṣé bóyá àwọn tó tábàtẹ̀ sọ pé àṣà, ṣé bí àṣà wa gan ṣe, ṣé bá àṣà wa nìyẹn? Tábà tiẹ̀ nílò àwọn nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ nínú àṣà wa, gbogbo àwùjọ tó bá fẹ́ ní ìlọsíwájú, àṣà tí ò dá bí àṣà wọn wá fi sílẹ̀, àwọn èyí tó dá òun ni wọ́n á tẹpẹlẹ mọ́ tí wọ́n á máa ṣe. So gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwùjọ náà, gbogbo àwọn èyí tá a bá rí tí ó kù díẹ̀ káàtó yìí, ó yẹ ká sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, ká dẹ̀ sọ pé irú nǹkan báyìí jẹ́ ká fi sílẹ̀, ká ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwùjọ. Because tá a bá sọ pé kí ìdàgbàsókè àwùjọ náà ni, ká ní òun ṣe obìnrin ló bí. Àtọkùnrin tó ń gbọ́ mi báyìí, obìnrin náà ni ìyá gbogbo wa, ẹni tó ní ẹ̀gbọ́n obìnrin tó lábúrò obìnrin. So gbogbo wa, mo sọ pé gbogbo àjọ ṣe lè dá ṣe, àtọkùnrin àtobìnrin, òun náà ni ètò yìí àjọ máa bára wa sọ́nà ní gbogbo ètò ojú òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀. A dẹ̀ máa mú àwọn akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ wá lóòrèkóòrè tí wọ́n máa bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ èyí tó ń jẹ́ òótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ lórí àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Torí àwọn míì wà tí ẹ pà wá lè sọ tá a lè má lè sọ bó ṣe yẹ ká sọ, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tó jẹ́ akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ wọ́n á máa wá lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan láti wá máa bá wa sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn, máa ní àwọn àlejò kàǹkàkàǹkà lágbára Ọlọ́run tí wọ́n á máa bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ lórí gbogbo àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tá a ti sọ. Ṣé mo gbìyànjú? Rate me o. So we are coasting home gradually now.
Látòrí
for staying tuned. You're still listening to the Women's Shelter on Melody 100.7 FM. And I'm still your host, Oluwatoyin Adeyemi. So like I said earlier, I said you should be taking notes because at some point I would like to hear from you. I have told you my own, my plan for this program. I told you what we'd be discussing on this show. But then, I also want to hear from you. What are your own expectations? What do you want from me? I told you what I'll be giving you, the value that I hope that you would get from this show. But then as a woman, and even a man listening to me out there, what do you intend to gain from this show? Or what do you want me to also include? Maybe a part that I had not talked about. Is there something that you want me to also 70 55 07 1007? Let me call it again. 070 55 07 1007. If you are there, I'd like to hear from you. Do you have a call? Mo ti ń sọ ọ̀rọ̀ látàárọ̀, mo dẹ̀ sọ pé tó bá dé àyè kan èmi náà fẹ́ gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ yín. Èmi ti sọ nǹkan tèmi fẹ́ ṣe lórí ètò yìí, nǹkan tí mo fi dá wálé nìyẹn tí mi ò má lè jù kankan wá. Torí mo wò pé téèyàn bá ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò, ó yẹ kéèyàn ṣe nǹkan tá à ń pè ní introduction lédè òyìnbó, kí n sọ nǹkan tí ó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ expect lórí ètò yìí. So mo wá fẹ́ kí ni ẹ̀yin náà kílẹ̀ yìí fẹ́, kílẹ̀ fẹ́ kí gbogbo nǹkan tẹ́ ti gbọ́ tó dùn mọ́ yín nú, tó ní nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ ká fi sí. Okay. Hello. Good evening. Good evening.
Am I on to Melody FM?
Yes, you are.
Okay, this is Daniela calling from Ilekuro, Ibadan.
Hey, thank you so
much.
And
I'm just here to appreciate Oluwatoyin Adeyemi for the beautiful so far. Yeah, we are grateful. And I would like to say that we may need to hear from women who have certain mindsets, because sometimes we give a lot of voice to women who have some sort of privilege and are already established. So we need to hear sometimes from women who are less privileged and have been affected by certain circumstances, which is why they think this way or they think they are limited.
Yes.
So I would like your program to give voices to some of these women so that we can really hear from them, because it's a mindset issue, like you said, and it's only mindset that can persist from one generation to another. So I do think that we need to hear from women who are less privileged in society. So that we can really understand how to combat this kind of mindset for women to grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Teniola, for calling in. Thank you so much. And just like you have said, it's all about mindset re-engineering. And we're going to do just that. Yes. Amagba obìnrin láyè láti wá sọ ìrírí wọn lórí ètò yìí. Ó wà lára nǹkan tí àti sọ pé a máa ṣe àdìmáṣe lágbára Ọlọ́run. So ibi yìí ni a máa parí ètò sílé ní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ wò wá lórí Facebook náà, especially brother mi Adédàmọ́lá Ajíbóyè. Thank you for your support. Mo rántí pé ìjọ́ tí màá kọ́ wá bíbá yìí náà, ẹ̀yin náà lẹ líǹkì mi mọ́ manager wa bíbá yìí Mr. Eniola Afọlábí. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate the management of the station for allowing me to have this show. And I believe that it's going to be a great time, not only for me, but also the entire management of the sport. Thank you, Mr. Adegoke, and then my studio manager. Thank you for your guidance today. It's been a while, so I really needed the help that you afforded me today. Once again, my name is Oluwatoyin Adeyemi, and I'll be your host every Wednesday between the hours of 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., where we'll be discussing women issues. It's all about the total development of women. Don't leave. Stay tuned to Melody 100.7 FM Ibadan. And always remember, when women rise, Nigeria rises. Thank you.
Ìkànnì tó kọjá rẹ́kẹrẹ́kẹ́ Melody FM Ìbàdàn rédíò yìí kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀ Melody FM Báṣọ̀run.